Hey, Bethany Family.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
What is
We are back for
happening?
another recap video.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
Are we on what page?
I'm trying
Because,
to.
It's a new.
because it's the new sermon series. We
Oh,
are
yeah.
on all pages.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let
Uh-huh.
me get on here and share my thing. Hold on.
Yeah.
But guys, please know, next week we're only going to be live in our connections group. So if you haven't,
Part.
join the
You
connections
gotta
group
be in
now.
the crew.
All right.
Yes. So Bethany Family, we are streaming live on Bishop's page and the main Facebook page. So next week we will be on the connections page. So please join it for the exclusive content, especially as we get into the summer months and we have all this incredible things coming out. So again, it's a Sunday recap service on a Monday with the Monday team, the family. We're missing one. Hopefully, Reverend Walters gets on, Pastor Walters gets on. But before we go anywhere, we have a special announcement. Special.
So special.
We have someone here that is celebrating a birthday.
Yeah.
Deacon Antoine McGee.
Pew, 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 pew.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Sister
Happy
Maya, Sister
birthday.
Debs, I think we need to, get our Lonnie Hunter on. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Y'all not gonna call Lonnie out in the street like that.
Sorry, Lonnie. We need some.
I know I didn't do Lonnie justice. But,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Lonnie. We didn't live up to the expectations.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
guys,
Happy birthday,
happy birthday
kid.
to Antoine, Deacon Antoine McGee.
Yes, please drop
See the
your
love in the background. See those?
your comments. Please put some balloons, some emoji balloons and everything. Say happy birthday to Deacon Antoine as he's celebrating this new chapter in his life. Before we get started, Deacon Antoine, how do you feel this new age, this new chapter?
Honestly, I'm going to be honest. Yesterday, when it turned midnight and they were playing the happy birthday song for me when I was dancing with my mom, I got a little emotional. A little bit.
As you should.
Because I thought about, all that's going on, and all the things that has happened in my life within the past like 5 years. And I was like very grateful. And I also remembered a lot of people who didn't make it.
Yeah.
And I remember an instance where I shouldn't have been here. And I thank God, so I'm right now. I'm good, I'm grooving.
Yeah.
Amen. And we are just so thankful to be here to celebrate with you on this live with our church fam. So guys, again, like Sister Maya said, please drop your comments in the comments. Wish Deacon Antoine a happy birthday. I'm telling you, I'm one that loves my birthday. I feel like a celebrity on my birthday. So when people, say happy birthday, oh, stop. Thank you. But when people celebrate your birthday, it's a milestone. Like Deacon Antoine said, not everyone makes it to each age. So it's definitely something to celebrate. So we celebrate you, young king. You continue to do your work in the kingdom. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Amen.
Who said it?
Karen.
Okay. Thank you. Because I can't see it, so. I see it now. I switched over. Thank you. Okay, I gotta turn off my notifications because they're going.
Oh, they're going crazy right now.
Yeah.
All right, so Bethany, I want to jump right into it. As you saw this Sunday, we were able to stream the encounter service for 8, 9, and 11 o'clock. Also, we're a 10 o'clock discussion, but also at 12 o'clock, we aired our second annual drive-in service.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Oh, before we get anywhere, I want to say shout out to all those that came out on Saturday. It was incredible. I missed the first one, but the second one was so incredible. And Deacon Antoine and Sister Maya filled me in. The first one was good, but the second one, you guys showed up and showed out. I'm telling you, the Holy Ghost was there because it was honking for Jesus. It was incredible to be there. Oh,
Sister June's joining us today. Hey, Sister June.
Hi, Sister June.
Hi.
How are you?
We're good.
How are you?
Thank you so much for joining us for our recap this week.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you for your patience.
We welcome you to the recap fam as our special guest.
Thank you
But
for your patience.
oh no, anytime. But
Getting online. You see, I'm not a millennial.
but look, that's why we love you. That's why we
Okay.
love you. That's why we love
Super
that you're
already.
here. You're representing for some people. So we really love you representing for them and joining us.
Yeah.
All right. I'm here.
All right. So like I was saying, the drive-in service, you guys did an incredible job. Guys, if you were not able to tune in, come Saturday, I encourage you guys to watch it on all of our platforms, especially YouTube and Facebook. It was an incredible word, and Bishop kind of, for our encounter service and for our drive-in service, he tied both the words in together. So it was an incredible word, and it's a new series, and I think it's an incredible series, especially for this time that we're going through. Everything going on in our society. So the title for this new word was God knows who you are, right? And he spoke on the identity, right? And talking about how, we're trying to find our identity in our kingdom, right? So he started with Judges chapter 6, verses 11 through 23. And he talks about how Gideon is on an assignment doing what the Lord has assigned for him. But in the beginning, Gideon starts to act as if he does not know who he is in God, right? I think it's especially important during this time, as you guys are seeing on social media, on the news, and everything with the protests and everything that's going on. People are losing their sense of their identity, or they're feeling like they don't know who they are because everything's going on in this world, right? So I think Bishop did an incredible, brilliant job with bringing this message during this time, because it's very important. It's important to know who you are during this time. During this moment with everything going on, people may feel discouraged, right? But Bishop just wanted to give us that reassurance that no matter what the circumstance is, God told you who you are. You know your identity in God, right? So let's start there, fam. Let's start talking about the importance of the identity, especially in today's society.
Yeah. I feel like there's, like you said, Kevin, already, there's so much going on that kind of strips us of that identity. With social media, always trying to compare ourselves to others.
Right.
Even in situations like what happened with George Floyd, that, how do I say this in a way that it's okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
The identity as Black people, being strong and confident in who we are, when things like this happen and we have to kind of like placate whomever for safety or whatever reasons, I feel like that can be very challenging.
Right.
And trying to stay firm and confident in who we are, not only as a person, but in who we are as a child of God.
Right. That's so true. So true. Anybody else want to piggyback off that?
I was gonna
think.
Go ahead.
I would love to meet each one of you when we can in person. I'm seeing some familiar faces, but I really don't know your names.
Okay.
The young man who just spoke. Tell me, how do I know you?
Me?
Yes.
Well, I am part of the social media team, and I am part of hospitality and concierge desk as well. So you probably saw me around. I know you saw me around the plaza all around helping people.
And give me your name, please.
Brother Kevin.
Now, Brother Kevin, when I see you in person and I greet you, and I say to you, I don't remember your name. Please forgive me.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm bad at names too, Sister
June. Give me a time to put a face on that name, because I have seen you before, but I never met you.
Well,
so
I'm
delighted
so
to meet you.
Yes, delighted to meet you as well.
All right. And the young lady down on the bottom right, I know you, I think, from the dance ministry or from drama.
No, ma'am. I'm on choir and the media team.
Okay,
and
I'm
just
on
started the
choir.
drama before quarantine.
Then I sing soprano whenever voices and sanctuary are together, but soprano with sanctuary.
Okay, so I'm a soprano too. You probably see me in your section.
Right? Yeah, right. We're right on the same side.
Yeah.
I and what choir? Which one?
Which one? Disciples.
Voices.
I believe disciples.
Voices.
Disciples.
Disciples. Oh,
I
okay.
think.
Okay.
Yes.
All
I
right.
forgot.
Uh,
Been so long. Yeah.
and your first name. Your first name.
Desiree. Or Sister Desiree.
I know you. I know you. I know you to greet you, to embrace you, to acknowledge you. But now I'm putting a name on that face. Good to
Well, it's
meet you,
nice to
Desiree,
officially meet
formally.
you.
All righty.
So, Sister June, what do
Yeah.
you think? How important is identity to who you are?
I believe what I was thinking about is and why I wanted to know who it is I'm talking to, because I have grandchildren now, the ages of probably everyone on this panel. And so you can imagine what our homes have been like in the past few days, over a week now.
Yeah.
And one said to me, why do we have to explain ourselves? What is it that we have to tell them? Why can't they tell us why they dislike us?
Right.
Have you ever thought of it that way? I'm taking it in another direction, I know.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Why should the answer come from us? What is it that, I mean, when babies are born, when children are born, they don't know color. When they're 2 and 3 years old, they don't know color. So where does that dislike come from? They have to let us know where it's happening, do we know? Do we know why? Do we know where it begins? It's for us in general conversation within this family. It's like, why do we have to be the one to explain? And I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah.
Anybody?
I can answer it in two parts. Because as you were talking, something was clicking.
Okay. So and your name?
I'm Antoine. You know me. I help you with the women, the Giannis events and all that.
Yes. Yes. Do you have glasses on? Yeah,
no.
I said I knew your face, but I don't have your name on. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. But, I'm Miss June or Sister White.
Yeah. Okay. I can answer the question in two parts. So when it comes to the identity of why do we have to explain ourselves, if we look at it from a God perspective, that's that's the question that we should ask ourselves. Right. Who are we? Why? How can we explain who we are? But the only way that we figure out who we are is by going to the one who identifies us.
Yes.
And that is God.
Yes.
To answer the question of identity as Black people, as people of color, during this racial time, honestly, I think the reason why we have to identify ourselves is because people who are racist or have that discrimination factor, they only see us. They see us less than as what we are. They don't see us as human. They don't see us as a person or people. They see us as animals, you know, as people of no soul, of no value, and you know, and that also comes to play on how we have carried ourselves throughout the generations. You know, so that was a great question from your grandchildren, but tying it back to the whole identity, why identity is important. It is the Father's job to identify you. In the Bible, if we look, Jacob, before he dies, he identifies he gives identity to all his children. And Bishop taught on Wednesday that is a reflection of what the judgment seat of Christ looks like. where he identifies each of us. So when we're looking for our kingdom identity and importance for the kingdom identity, we must go to the Father for him to tell us who we are so that we can start to live out the way that he wants us to live.
Right.
Well, do
right.
See, I have an opposing opinion on
Go ahead.
that.
Okay.
Because you said that, you know, they see us as these horrid things. Well, to the 2 points that you made, the first point, you know, they see us as these animals, these horrid things. I don't think so. I think that it is, they know that we are like we have whatever that it factor is, that we have that, you know, that connection to God. We have like, I hear the like the we are the chosen people, you know, like not trying to exclude.
I got
to choose my words properly because the platform. But you know, don't want to get in trouble, get called no. No, but you know, when you are intimidated, when you are jealous, when you have, when you know someone it has a leg up on you that was God given, all you can do is try to suppress and push down. That is the only, you know, so because it's been a mind game this whole time, you know. Welcome whoever's coming in.
Is it Pastor Waters? There he is.
Welcome.
Pastor Waters.
But yeah, so it's like it's been this mind game this whole time.
Right.
Which is why it's like you're not going to tell me who I am because your whole thing has been trying to rip away who I've been, who I am. Your whole, like, you ripped everything who I've been. You've destroyed my history. So it's like you can't tell me who I am. I now have to discover that. I have to connect with my people on that level. But on the spiritual level, we are kings and priests. We are God's kids. We are, you know, so when we might lose our way, when we go outside of God's will, when we go outside of and get lost, you know, and we become impressionable by the world, he always rings us back in, you know. And what's the, you know, what is it with the lamb who got lost, the sheep who got lost, you know, the 99, and then like the one that got lost, you're still a child of God. We're coming to get you. You know, you might be off your way, but we're coming back to get you. So that's, identity kind of makes sense for in my head in that way. For you know,
right.
I was trying to choose my words because I was like,
good job, Dad.
That was awesome. No, you guys are doing awesome.
Because I will go militant quick. But...
no, all your responses are so awesome.
Right.
To the importance of identity, because I think why Bishop picked this topic and this word for this time is because there's so many of us not knowing what our identity is, or if we did know what our identity was, but with everything going on, it's kind of getting shaky. So what we need to do is, you know, first identify who we are and get back to that identity that God gave us, right?
Yeah.
So then we can take the next step, right? So with that, at times it may be difficult to decipher between God's voice and our own desire, right? We talked about this last week, but you know, Bishop went into it some more, right? So he talked about how God's tone is different from our tone because our desires know how to sound like God, right?
Right.
So sometimes we'd be like, yeah, God wants me to do that. God said, but it's not, it's our own desires, right? Because he says our desires have a seductive voice, right? So my question to you, family, how do you usually decipher the difference between God's voice and his tone and our own desire?
What's that scripture? Or it's like the things I should do, I don't, and the things I don't do, I do. That's usually like my indication. It's like, I want to do this. I want to do this. And it's like a good idea. And it's like, you shouldn't do it. It's like, you sure? Because I feel like, yeah. Like,
right.
I feel like I should do this. I know that didn't answer your question, but
no, that was good. No, that was good. Anybody want to piggyback off that? What's the how do you decipher the difference between God's voice and your own desire?
Um, well, for me, I think I talked about it last week, but I kind of go based off of what if the word is complimented by what I'm hearing, then I know it's God's voice. And then I also go and ask, Bishop, I'll ask Pastor Nick, I'll ask, my prayer partners who are, who are sensitive to the voice of God. And I'm like, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I think is going on. And they'll be like, okay, well, let's pray about it, and we'll pray about it. And then we wait.
Right.
See if there's, a confirmation, if there's a release. Because if you feel apprehension, that's an indicator, like, pump your brakes.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I have to be really in tune with what my intuition is telling me, which I say is God, right? Hopefully. Really, the waiting process is what's important too. Yeah. And not being so just go, like actually wait. Yeah. Pray, impulsive. Wait, pray about it, pray some more. Like you said, Antoine, talk about it with people that you trust. Just to really trying to like flesh out between what is you and what might be what is God ordained.
Yeah. Because it's like a blueprint almost. Like you ever seen them have like floor plans laid out on a big old table, and you got things all over the place. Like, oh, maybe we put this here, maybe we put that here. Ready to build something, you gotta have wise counsel.
Yeah.
So that's key. Like if somebody's like, nah, I don't think you should do that because you got this going on.
Right.
It's going to play in with that, and then you're like, I didn't even think about it.
Right.
Let me take a backseat. That kind
right.
I think it's interesting what you said, Antoine, about like having a circle around you, though. Like, and it kind of ties into Bishop's old series when he was talking about like having people around you. Like be careful about who you allow to keep company. So the fact that you have those voices who also hear God's voice to help confirmation.
Yeah, I like that. Sister White, did you want to speak on that? How do you usually decipher the difference between God's voice and your own desire? Can you hear me?
Few comments that I should tell you all that I'm getting a lot of static. So I wanted to reference that. Remember in Bishop's messages, it was like God knows our name. He knows who we are.
Yeah.
And I think the whole idea of listening to God speak, I could really identify with Bishop saying he spoke to my mother, he spoke to my grandmother, but do I know that he's speaking to me?
Right.
I can tell you as I continue to study and grow in my dialogue with God, have you ever had a situation when you say that God heard you or something, or something comes through, or something happens in a situation, and you know that it was God,
right?
And He had spoken to you earlier, but maybe you didn't see it like that,
right?
So
there goes Pastor Waters.
When Bishop was preaching that message, what I was saying, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're good.
I'm still getting every other word. So,
it's a little static.
Forgive me.
No, go ahead.
Because I can't respond. There was a question just now, and I can't respond to it.
Nope, you're good, Sister June.
You're good.
Keep sharing what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have lost her.
Well, then I'll since we have Pastor Waters here, the one that comes with all the wisdom for the group, right?
Oh man.
We are happy that you're here, sir. Let me ask you this question. So, we're diving right into Bishop's word for the encounter services as well as the drive-in service too. And I asked the family, how do you usually decipher the difference between God's voice and your own desire? I know we kind of touched on it last week, but Bishop dived into it, into this word this week. So if you could share with us, Pastor.
Yeah. I'm sorry I'm late. First of all, but yeah, Bishop dived into it a little bit more this week. Being able to decipher that voice that we can sometimes mistake for our voice, and we don't know which voice is which voice sometimes. Being able to, we last week we talked a little bit about looking at the word and making sure it coincides with what the word is. And this week he added on to layers of that.
Right.
And as he added on, as he began to talk about it, I was still thinking the same way I always think. Like, it is still so hard to decipher between those voices.
Right.
But as he, so eloquently put it, as always does, he brought us back around to how we can understand that voice. So in my thoughts, I'm still, I think that voice is a still voice. He put it a little differently, but it's a voice that only you will be able to understand, and it's brought out through word, and it's brought out through your understanding on your purpose in life.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
In a minute, once I get a little bit more settled in.
No, you're good.
Back again.
Look, I just got here.
Oh no, we gotta get hit with the hammer.
But no, as we are continuing in the stream, guys, I encourage you guys to write in the comments as well your opinion. Even though we're answering the questions, we would love to hear your answer in the comments as well. Also, shout us out different parts of the word that you watched or experienced on Saturday and Sunday, so we can talk about it too. Okay. But yes, as everyone responded, it goes back to what we talked about last week, where we have to decipher basically our wants and our needs. Because I feel like as Christians, we could be like, oh, I need this, but I want this, but do I actually need it? Right. So, and that's where we can start with when God is trying to speak with us. And Bishop did talk about how as Christians, sometimes every time we encounter something, we always are seeking what is God saying? What is God saying, when he probably already showed it to us in the word, in worship, or in our Bible, right? So God will speak when he knows you need to hear from him, right? It's not like every day when you have, oh, I'm having a problem with my car, or I'm having a problem at the grocery store. God is not about to be like he already spoke it into your life, right? So at times we seek God's voice during situations, but sometimes he's silent, right? Yeah. And we have a problem with that because we never know how to decipher how to get through certain things when God is silent, right? God knows that you don't need to hear from him because he has already answered your problem before you requested it, or we have forgotten the word, right? God tends to speak to us while we are doing things on normal activity, such as worshiping. We're at work. We could be driving our car, cooking dinner, tending to the family. So I think that's when we miss God at times, when, we're doing our normal things and God could be speaking to us in certain things, right? So let me ask you guys, and we always talk about it, but is there a time that you can recall when God spoke to you while you were doing something? You could be cooking. You could have been putting your clothes together, ironing your clothes. And can you recall a moment when you were like, "Dad, that was God"?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of which one, but usually some of my most of my quiet time moments with him are when I'm driving. Okay. Develop the practice of sometimes not listening to the radio. And just being quiet while and it won't be like a full conversation. It'll sometimes be like a thought or an image or like just a feeling like I got you. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Especially if I'm anxious about something, or if I'm worried about something, or if I messed up something, I'm like, okay, God, how am I gonna fix this? And he's just like, well, do this, and then oftentimes, which is crazy, I want to see if this happens to anybody else. When I'm praying, sometimes I can see things, like I see I'm praying, and it's kind of like distracting when I'm praying. But I thought I was weird for a couple seconds, but somebody else said that it happens to them, so I was like, okay, I feel better.
No, that's good. That's awesome. Oh, I wish I had that vision. Anybody else want to piggyback off that?
Y'all want me to? I go.
Go ahead.
I haven't been here that long, so let me go. So yeah, it's been multiple times where I felt like God has spoken to me, and He's been right on time and saying certain words that will allow me to, something as knowing when to apply for another job, knowing when it's time to leave a certain location. Just having this, this thing, this knower, Bishop calls this knower in you, where the Lord is speaking to your spirit, and just having you go ahead and just move away from that situation. Just in time, and then you find out something happened or something went a certain way, or you was able to get the job because you applied on a certain day. I mean, things like that when God is speaking to you. And oftentimes I've also had him where it's just more of a quiet voice and like one or two words that gives you peace that surpasses understanding, something that just like he said before, I got you, or it's going to work out, or just something really smooth, and you just feel so relaxed in your spirit that's going to be okay. Even when you're talking to someone kind of hostile, I've been in a situation where people and just something just come over me like peace, and it's like, it's okay, it's gonna be all right.
Wow, that's awesome.
No, I would echo that. I would echo that. A lot of times for me, it's been, y'all don't know this about me, but when I'm in situations where it's like really intense, I get like emotional and like. I'll hear, just like you said, involved, it's like quiet voice, like it's gonna be okay, or relax, or I got you. Where I'm like, okay, I got this. So it kind of feeds back into my spirit, and that's how I know, like that must be God.
Yeah, it's gotta
be God. Awesome, Sister Des, you want to add on to it?
I feel like when I'm listening to music or listening to sermons, and I'll really get. Like something will hit me and it'll be like, it'll tug on my spirit. It's like, it'll be like, are you listening? Because that was for you. And then out of nowhere, the preacher will say, this is for somebody. I'm like, me over here.
Me.
Like that happens all the time. So yeah, like definitely when I'm listening to something else, but the moments where I'm just having those times by myself, I would say sometimes in prayer moments where I'm just like, and it's really conversational. And that's, those times kind of scare me because I'm like, because sometimes I downplay myself. So I'm like, I'm not this holy God. Like, what are you? No, seriously.
Oh, I know
like,
that one.
And I was like, really, why are you talking to me? So yeah. Sometimes those things happen.
Awesome. Sister White, Sister White, I'm so happy you were able to join us again. Everything okay? Can you hear me? Oh. It's all right if she can't, but I just want to echo what Dad said. I always say when I hear God speaking to me is definitely during worship, when I'm hearing when I'm worshiping, or I'm hearing when worship music and everything. That's when I hear God speak to me the most. Is like he's telling me it's like, I don't know if it's just me, but when I hear worship music, it's just like my head is just like clear. And like I'm solely focused on his goodness and like just where I'm at and like what my next step is. It's like crazy. It's kind of like that vision that Deacon Antoine talked about. But like when I hear that worship music, and you guys know that good worship song, when it get up in you in that belly, it's like when you get a good meal and you just feel good, and it gives you chills. It's just like you just get so happy. So that's when I feel like God speaks to me the most, because I just love listening to music already. So that worship music really is that strong component when I hear God. Right.
And I think we talked about this too last time, that music is so important to in our relationship with Christ. So it makes sense to me that he would use that right song right on time to speak into our spirits.
Right. So true. So God uses those moments to speak to us and to help us get back to, talking about the central idea about our identity. So something that Bishop said on Saturday, and he also echoed it on Sunday for the encounter services, is that the season of intimidation is coming to an end. When I heard him say that, I was like, hope for Jesus.
Hope for Jesus.
Like, I was just like, wow.
Thank you, Lord.
Jeez. Mm-hmm.
The season of intimidation is coming to an end.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like as Christians, as you walk in Christ and you're walking in the kingdom, intimidation hits us so hard with just certain different things. Like, I want to worship my God. And, you've got people that say, oh, you have so many naysayers. There's so many things that's going on in the world that you're just like, oh, it intimidates you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you guys, what do you think is the biggest intimidation when it comes to Christians growing and learning in the kingdom?
Laziness.
Each other.
Okay, all right.
Talk about it then.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna speak from my perspective. What stopped me from growing? One was fear. The other one was laziness, and then the other one was self-doubt. So many people don't know my story, but I ran from God when I was 20.
Wow.
Like, he showed me something, and I was like, absolutely not. I'm gonna go this way. And I ran.
Wow.
And he brought me back.
Mm-hmm.
He brought me back, but I came back.
Right.
And he brought you back. You're good.
Yeah. No.
Check him, Red. We're gonna have to pray after this.
Right.
Yeah, lay hands.
For real, yeah.
Get the oil out.
I'll accept the oil. But he brought me back, and then from there you have to, you have to battle with your past.
Yeah.
Sometimes your past hinders you from growing, and then battle with your significance. Like, am I as significant as God tells me that I am? And that's what Gideon was battling with. Like, he's threshing wheat in a wine press. So you're threshing wheat where you're supposed to be making wine.
Right.
So you're doing something where you're not supposed to be doing it at. And then God comes to talk to you, and you're just like, me? Why me? And that was my battle, So I know for other people it's different things, but mine was fear, self-doubt, and then what else did I say?
Yeah.
Fear, self-doubt, and laziness.
And just pure laziness. Just like, you're supposed to be reading the Bible. But matter of fact, I'm gonna play 2K. You're supposed to be praying, but I'm gonna be on FaceTime.
Let me ask you with the laziness. Is it laziness or is it procrastination? Because what you have to do.
Good question.
Right.
Okay, so procrastination. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah, it's better.
Go ahead, Sister Beth.
I'll piggyback that, especially though, like being insecure about it, because I sometimes I just said it, not too long ago, how it's like, really, me, God, you're talking to me? Like, that imposter syndrome kind of comes in, which is intimidating, because it's like, oh, so you trying to call me? Like, even this right now, like, I'm like, y'all are holy. Like, I'm still trying to get you know what I mean? I'm kidding, but there is some seriousness to that. Like, we get into these, and I think that's with Christianity in general. We see people who have been saved for so long, for 15, however many years, and then you have someone who just got saved this afternoon, and they're looking at the 15-year Christian, like,
that comparison
I have
game.
like, I have to get all of this, I have to do all this, and it's like, no, like, where you are in God right now, like, you are the same God, the same child of God that 15-year veteran, I mean, you know what I mean, like, Christian veteran is, and I think that's a lot of where the intimidation comes in, for me. That imposter syndrome is like, God, like, I'm really, you calling me, you pulling me, but I'm like, I feel like I'm in the stage of what you were talking about, Anton. Like, I'm still trying to, like, run a little bit, but, like, God is still like, he has a full wrap around me, and I'm like, no, you ain't
going nowhere.
You ain't going nowhere. It's like
I be trying
you're
to
in
cut it.
quicksand.
I love
You're in
them.
quicksand. You try to get out, but
No,
God like
because and I will say something very very carefree right now. Like I love Bethany so much because even when you think that people don't see you, people see you.
Yeah.
And so for like all of us here, everybody in these little squares, all of us were like, "No, we good." Like,
right.
no, we're good. But it's
Right.
like, no, you could come on, you can do
Sugar.
this.
Right.
We got right, exactly. So it's like,
That's so
I
true.
think that's part of it as well. Is like
So true.
knowing, and it goes into the identity part, because it's like I don't think that I'm called for this or that I should
Yeah.
be here,
But
but
God
God
knows
moved
who you
and was like,
are.
"Nah, we're gonna put you right where you're supposed to be." And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Y'all better come on and do this 360 around this word. Does
I'm
anybody else want to
tired.
pick
Like,
Can you repeat the question again for Sister June?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yes.
So the question I asked was, what do you think is the biggest intimidation when it comes to Christians growing and learning in the kingdom? Can you hear me, Sister June? Sister White?
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I'll go ahead. I think it's comparison, like like I said self or us.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of comparison to someone else's journey. And
Yeah.
we feel like our journey should be like their journey, even though we don't know their journey.
Yeah.
We should be as holy as they are, because even though we don't know if they're holy or not, we just see the demonstration, but not the sacrifice a lot of times.
Right.
And so with that, we always are looking at someone and comparing, and this is what leads to that, that self-doubt that everyone's talking about, that feeling of, am I not worthy? It's the same thing. If you don't know anybody that is worthy, why not you?
Wow.
But if you're comparing your worthiness to someone else's worthiness, that's where you have this self-doubt, this thing going on in your mind of, why me? Well, why not you? I mean, who else? Like, if you look at yourself individual, why are you comparing to someone else? So it's no one else but you, because you've been made. That identity you have is unique to what God has made you. It's no one else like you. You in all your ways who you are. Because God made you that way. And that's the reason why we fail many times, because we take our gifts and compare it to someone else's, but someone else doesn't have our gift. And they can't do what you do, no matter how hard they try. All you have to do is walk in your calling and continue to serve Him.
Exactly.
Nope.
I agree.
He just needed a couple moments. He got right into that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's ready rolling now. But I would agree. And then at the same token, like, people present themselves the way that they want to be seen.
Yeah.
You don't know how things are behind closed doors. So, like, stop trying to compare yourself to how you think they are, because that can be dangerous.
You don't know what they have to live through.
Yep.
That's the thing. Like, and if you have the privilege of seeing behind closed doors, pray for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So true.
Eyes are open.
So true.
Wide open.
So, like everyone is saying, I think the central theme is that as Christians, we try to, move, like, walk with God, but still try to keep that past with us, because, we don't know how people are going to receive it when we continue to move up in the kingdom, right? And Bishop basically touched about that when he said the season of hiding God's assignment for your life is coming to an end, right? We tend to hide God's assignment because we don't know how people are going to receive it. We start to disqualify ourselves, right? So let me ask you, now this is not a controversial question, but kind of, do you think this is do you think this is why people are not active in the church?
Ooh.
Yeah, Kevin.
Reverend?
What do you mean by that?
Go ahead, Reverend.
So I mean, what I mean by, God gives us these gifts to be active. Like, Bishop says it all the time, that we do so many things outside the church that we can be doing inside the church. But sometimes we get intimidated by what the next person is doing in church, that, you're like, oh, I can't live up to that. You know what I mean? So do you feel like, because of that mindset, this is why some people are not active in the church?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. And I believe that we how can I say this clearly? We don't gain the full potential of our purpose because of this. Because we walk in with this thing where we think someone they already have. Sometimes we think that they already have it together. They don't need me. My input doesn't mean much, especially in a larger environment, larger church or larger wherever you go. You think that what I can add is nothing compared to what they already have, and you put all these things in your mind before you walk in the door. Because to be honest, truthful, you need as many hands as you can. But because you're comparing, I think there's, in my mind, there's more.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, right in the middle of a word.
Oh, he was about to give.
That's because it was too good.
It was too good.
The Holy Ghost needs to come on.
He'll come back.
Deacon, you want to give us that birthday wisdom until Reverend comes back?
So I piggyback with him, and I'm gonna use me because I can't speak for anybody else. I got involved with church for the first time. I really got involved. I got involved for the wrong reason. I got involved for me, and I messed everything up. So then from there, there it is.
Look, he's typing it. We can hear you. You hear?
You must not hear us.
Oh, I don't think he can hear us.
Okay. You want me to keep going?
I'm back.
All right,
Deacon Ismail, can you hold that thought until we get Rev? Okay, go ahead, Rev. Keep going because you was giving us something.
So my comment, I know you probably heard my comment at the end where I said this is not going well for me today. I'm on my third device, and I've upgraded so many devices, and we'll figure it out. We'll get it right tonight. But what were we talking about? One more time.
No, just talking about that intimidation factor. Do you think that intimidation factor is the reason why people are not active in the church because they're intimidated by what the next person is doing in the church or how they display their gifts?
Yes. So I feel like, and that's why I ended up saying that I feel like a lot of us will, some people will end up leaving certain churches or going to an environment where they feel a little bit more, they can compare better, or they can feel like they can stand up against it better. Instead of taking on a challenge that may not even be a challenge because God called you to that certain environment, to that certain church.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you would just stay the course, God will allow you to be able to gain the knowledge that you need to be where He wanted you to be in that environment.
Right.
So sometimes we'll take ourselves, a fish is an expert in this in a tank or in a pond, but if you take him outside that pond, he's not that great anymore. He can only do what's great in that certain area. So sometimes we'll take that gift that's supposed to be for this house, and then we'll try to take it somewhere else, not for that house.
Right.
And you'll find yourself in a situation where you're not able to, like I said before, really fulfill that gift to its full potential. And I think that's where we miss some of our identity there too, because once again, it goes back to identity and being able to compare yourself, not being fully understanding who God made you and what you can do in the kingdom.
Wow. Whew. Deacon Antoine, did you want to keep going, or you want Sister?
Okay. so all right. Speaking.
I got you, Sister Des. I ain't forget about you.
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
So speaking for me, I think I'm gonna change my approach now because he already said what I was gonna say.
My bad.
He said it better, so it's great. So I found my identity serving. It was when I decided to. What'd you say?
His identity serving.
Oh, sorry.
I found my identity serving. So it was when I started serving the media ministry that I started to discover certain talents and skills that I had. And then that is also when God began to reveal things to me because I got connected to the church in a different aspect. When you're a member, you're connected. But when you're in the fight with your fellow Christians, you're really connected. And membership in service has its privileges. And you're able to sit under different people that you did not expect to be able to sit under. And then from there, they're able to speak into you and guide you. And you have different friends and different loved ones that you grow in the church. And that was my biggest thing. That's how I started to discover what my assignment was. But I also, when I saw what the assignment was like, no, you got the wrong person. You got the wrong person. But it took, Bishop, honestly, to be like, I think this is what you should do.
Wow.
I was just like, okay. I didn't say I trust myself. I was like, I trust you because you see it differently than I do. And sometimes even with assignment, if you get involved, you're able to have a different lens. Somebody else can help you through your journey. So I do think, as Reverend Varner said, that not getting involved will hinder your journey, especially when you know that you should get involved.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. Sister Des, you want to take it from there?
I wanted to say two things. One, getting over the fear of having people judge you will be like that I think that hinders a lot of people from doing things, within the church because of the whether you're in a big church or a small church, that fear of judgment that comes with, not and not even comparing, but not measuring up.
Wow.
And my second point, and it kind of counteracts the first point, is remembering who you're doing it for. So like, you want to, you're stopping yourself because of the people, because but you have to remember that you're doing it to serve God. You're doing this to worship God. Whether you're ushering, whether you're singing in the choir, it doesn't matter. This is all about God's glory. And I can speak, candidly with you all. I mean, obviously this is live, so everyone's gonna hear it now. But to be completely transparent, there were times, not even, in this house and other houses that I've been a part of, prior to this house, where I've felt like I wanted to pull back and step away because I felt people judgment. You feel the chatter around you, and that can tend to pull you away from what you're supposed to be doing, but you really have to connect with what God wants you to do, connect with what his vision is for you, connect and say, like, listen, I might be hearing around me, but but I'm doing this for you. If no one else sees me, if no one else is impressed by me, I don't care. You see me, you're impressed by me, you're gonna have a conversation with me after. I'm gonna be in my car on the way home crying because you got the glory. You know what I mean? And so whether I would just encourage whoever is, obviously once outside opens and we can come back into the church house, the physical building, definitely get involved. Do, like, you have a gift, like Reverend Botter said, like, nobody is like you. So get involved, do what God called you to do, and don't be afraid to do it. People are going to talk about you, whether you're in the church, whether you're at work, it doesn't matter. People are always going to be around. But, do it know who you're doing it for, and that'll wash everything else away.
Can I ask a question? How many of you feel like you're being judged all the time? You're being judged. How many feel like you're being judged? Raise your hand if you feel like you're being judged. At times. I think everybody,
right.
Judged. But I wonder, in that same sentence, how many people actually are judging us? Because in our minds at the time, like when I feel like I'm being judged in my mind, it's like hundreds of thousands of people.
No.
You feel like, it's a lot of people. You feel like there's conversations everywhere.
Right.
But I wonder if it was like a fly on the wall, how many people really are paying that much attention to us? I know it's always some haters out there, but how many haters? I mean, if you really had to count them, like, how many you think they're out there?
Right, that's true.
And how important
the number will be a lot lower than what we think in our brain.
Right. I like that. And how, like you said, is that how important are those opinions? And then also those people that are judging you, what are their credibilities? What are their credentials? Right? Because I tend to see people that talk about people that do stuff in the church, but they're not doing anything.
They're not doing anything.
Why should we really care what they're saying, right? Yeah. So, Sister Maya, did you want to add on to anything about that, or?
Like she does. I see it.
No, y'all said it all. Y'all said it all.
Okay.
I was just thinking about egos. And how that comes into play in what our kingdom identity is.
Right. Right.
You know, how do you balance that out? How do you tame your ego?
Right.
It's big,
Talk about it, sis.
It's big in the church. It's big in the church.
It is.
I know.
It definitely is.
I think I had the biggest lesson about ego when I was walking as a we have this acronym. Ego is edging God out.
Oh, I love that.
The other way that we should do, the ego we should have is exalting God only. So we had to we had to write it down and come face to face with the things that we do that takes God out of the picture.
Yeah.
You know, from our attitudes, from our language, from the thought processes, and then even our behaviors. You know, when we hear certain things, are we accepting? Are we welcoming in these situations? And honestly, that was the easiest way for me to have an ego adjustment. You know, does it still happen? Absolutely. I'm human. But if we start to think of it that way, what are we doing to move God out of the picture? And then what are we doing to exalt him? You will know when your ego is in check and when it's out.
Yeah. Definitely have to
So
humble
true.
yourself.
Yes, definitely. But it just sounds like the central theme to all of this is going back to you have to know your identity, especially in the kingdom, whether you're serving in a church or outside of the church. Knowing that identity of who you are and what God says you are and whose you are, right? That's what helps you decipher different things, especially because Bishop talked about how often our situations contradict our kingdom identity, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes people may feel like we're living contradictions because God is with us, but then we're in situations where we're like, there's no apparent evidence but the provision that he has for us, right?
Yeah.
So examples like I have example he said was I have been promised greater things, right? But my situation does not feel like I'm dwelling in the greater.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes the important thing is having that reassurance that this is what God said who I am and whose I am. And then also saying, walking with that and not comparing myself to the next person or, someone that may be judging me and maybe one person, maybe 1,000 people, whoever it is. But it's like Reverend Walter said, it's your journey, it's your identity, and it's your testimony, right? So my last question before we get off. So Bishop did talk about, receiving word and how important it is, right? But he said, as you hear a word by faith, make sure you seek to magnify the presence of God while you hear that word. Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we sit, you got some Christians just be like, oh, that's a good word. That's a good word. But are they seeking the presence of God in that word?
Yeah.
So my question to you guys is, why do you think people tend to hear a word and not apply it to their situation?
I'm gonna let somebody else go before I.
You're right.
I think the challenge, and I'm gonna make this fast, but I think the challenge is for people to understand all God's word is valid to their life.
Yes.
And I say that to say a lot of times we'll say that word may not be for me, or that word's not for me, and we tend to push down or push away some word that's for me, but I'm not taking it for me. And so I think the main thing is to realize that all words for you. If you are hearing a word, if you're reading a word, somehow that can pertain to your life. Somehow something that you can do, something that you can learn from that particular word to where you can grow from it. So don't push away the word that's coming forth in your life.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Anybody want to piggyback off that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sister Jazz. I see you.
I was trying to think about what it was that they said, but when Pastor Nick and Bishop were sitting, they had a conversation about the Bible and about how to some people, if you're not a child of God, the Bible is just a book to you. Whereas when you are a child of God, you understand that this is a manual. This this is the living, breathing word. This is God. Like as we have him now. Like this is the physical manifestation of God. Whereas Jesus was God. I forget how they actually put it. Go back and watch it, saints. But but I think that is the, you know, when you hear a word and it's like it doesn't, you're not taking it with you. It's like have you prepared the soil to receive it? You know, have you did you worship prior? Did you get yourself ready to receive that word properly? You know, so that it can connect with you. Because one thing that Bishop says is like it's going to be, it's either helped you something, the word is either going to help for something that happened to you, is happening, or it's going to happen. So whether it's something that's connecting to you now, like it's still a word for you to take in. And so if you are a true child of God, you call yourself a believer, then you are going to hold on to that word. You're gonna, you know, because you know it'll come back maybe 5 years, like Bishop said this, and this, and it'll connect. You know what I mean? Like, and it'll connect to you. So yeah, I think that, you know, you can't really say if you're a child of God that, oh, like you just coming to hear the word or whatever. It's like, no, this is, and or also, sorry, I don't want to take up too much space, but also sometimes you might be the person, like you might hear a word and it might be for someone connected to you, and somebody will tell you something, and then you'll be like, you know what, my bishop just said such and such and such, and then it'll tirade into what they're going through. So sometimes like it goes into the service aspect of it. Like it's not always about you. Sometimes you're supposed to be helping somebody else.
That's true.
So yeah.
I like that. And also, like, it might not mean anything to you now. Yeah. But in time, it will. So I think it's important that you're always listening, taking it in, because you never know when that moment's going to come that you're going to need it.
Right. Deacon, you got some birthday wisdom up there for us?
I mean, they said everything, but I would say the point of, I think he said, we don't look for the magnified presence, or to have that presence.
Right.
I think sometimes we are satisfied with just getting the word without doing the work.
Right.
Because, you know, faith without works is dead. So you receive the word by faith, but now you have to work the word also by faith. Right. So we, I think that's what our biggest issue is. Like, oh, we got the word and now it's going to happen. Yes, it's going to happen, but you still, like we said last week, you still have to do your part.
Right.
And I think that's where we get in trouble. You know, forget to do our part. And we forget, and the one part is, and I was thinking about it as you were talking, is that we have to hide the word in the heart for when the circumstances come.
Right.
Where we have to, you know, pull it out to glean from, or to help us guide someone else, or to guide ourselves. So I learned that lesson the hard way, but it was a good lesson, you know.
All right.
I thank Bishop for even saying that, because it rang in my head differently when he said the presence of God. I was just like, so now I'm like, okay, I have to up the ante when I'm hearing the word, when I'm receiving the word, because now I have to walk away with His presence.
Right.
So that was a biggie.
Awesome. So as Bishop started to go into his closing for this message, something to help with our identity, especially our kingdom identity, to remember is that God gave you what when He saved you more than. Wait, sorry. Let me get this right, because this is Bishop words. Hold up.
Those are hard to say.
Right. What God gave you when He saved you is more than victory right now. So those that are feeling like, I don't have what I need, God already gave you the victory to see whatever you're facing right now. You are anointed. You are the anointed one. You may be in hiding. You may be, you know, overlooked and everything, but you have that anointing, especially if you are, you know, wavering what your kingdom identity is and kingdom assignment. He said, you know, we got to add a word to our name. So attach the word victory to your name. So whatever your last name is, add that attachment. Do the little hyphen and put victory with it, right? So Kevin Johnson victory, right?
We all cousins. Cousin victory.
Right. So guys, saints, I know right now, like we started this message, the society that we're living in with everything that's going on, our identity is always wavered and is always tested, especially being Christians. But, we have to stay encouraged, continue to uplift each other, continue to stay, together as a body, and continue to be there for people, especially during these times with everything going in the world.
Yeah.
And I just thank Bishop for this word, because I think this is a great series to start during this time as we go into these summer months, right?
Yeah, totally agree.
Right. So does anyone want to add anything before, we sign off? Because this hour goes by so fast. I don't know about you guys, but every time I look, I'm like, dang, it went by that fast.
Yeah.
Right. So before we go, I just want to encourage you guys, if you did not watch the encounter services yesterday, please watch them, as well as the second annual drive-in service is up there. It's streamed at 12 o'clock. Such an amazing word. Bishop did the encounter and the drive-in service and combined it. He just went into details more at the drive-in service. So we encourage you guys, if you guys are able to, please join us for our third annual drive-in service. I feel like the drive-in services are going to get bigger and bigger, because the more that we talk about it and you see what's going on, more people are going to want to come and get some of that good word. So we encourage you guys to do that, but make sure you get there coming at 11:15, because that parking lot is full, right? It gets full. So every Saturday at 12 o'clock, depending on the weather, we do have our drive-in services. Also, I want to encourage you guys to watch everything that we will have posted throughout the week. This Friday, we have a panel that I'm so excited about. It's at 7 o'clock. It's a panel. It's basically a mother discussion on raising an African-American son during today's society.
Wow.
It's going to be incredible. I don't want to give too many details away, because I want you guys to tune in. So please, this Friday at 7 o'clock, tune in. Please share your comments. Please share your thoughts. This is why we have these panels and these discussions, so we can stay connected as a body, as a church, so we can, learn off of each other. As you see here, every Monday, we all feed off of each other. And that's what we need to do as, as we go on into these summer months, as connecting as a body. Also, starting the 14th of this month, we will be starting to air some things for Power of God. Woo, woo,
Yes,
woo,
sir.
woo.
Yeah.
Even though we cannot celebrate in person, we are still going to give God the praise virtually, right? So we will be streaming content from past Power of Gods, as well as new content too. So, get in, usually you got to have the band to sit up front and stuff at Power of God. Well, you got the front row seat.
Front row and center.
Front row and center, the best seat in the house, by tuning in and starting with us on the 14th. Tune in for Power of God. I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like with everything going on, especially this pandemic, I feel like Power of God is really going to speak to our spirits, and really going to help us get some questions answered and just help us get through these things. So I know that Bishop, Pastor Nick, and everyone on the team, the administrative team, especially, why am I losing? Pastor P. I know Pastor P has something incredible in store for us. So please, front row seat is by tuning in starting the 14th of this month. Also, my last announcement, as we get closer to Father's Day, we want to celebrate our men, our fathers of Bethany, right?
Yeah.
So please turn in videos, pictures, or just anything celebrating the fathers of Bethany. Please send them to social at go to number 2 Bethany.com. Okay. Again, that's social at go to number 2 Bethany.com. All right. And, this was streamed on Bethany's page and Bishop's page, but you have to join our connections group on Facebook to get all this good content. As you can see, our panel discussions, I don't want to say that ours are the best beings, but we bring the noise every Monday. It's always
controversial noise.
Right? So, again, we wanted you guys to join our Bethany's Connections group to stay connected with us and get all the exclusive content that was going on behind the scenes, board at Bethany, board in the plaza, right? And then just celebrating as we are in the parking lot as well, plaza in the parking lot. So, family, any last words before we sign off?
Oh, thank everybody for the birthday wishes.
Oh yes, happy birthday!
Oh, wait,
happy
birthday!
I did it too. Happy birthday!
Right, Bethany family, we love you guys.
He looks good for a 60-year-old, don't he?
Wow.
Whoa. That's that ego.
Wow. Mustache is filling in.
Those are the 90s.
But no, I love this channel. I love you guys. Love you, fam. Love you, Bethany fam. Please stay connected with us throughout the week, and reach out to us. Post in the connections group. Post on the page, and we'll get back to you. And if you see us at the Saturday service, please say hi to us. It's always a good pleasure. Honk for Jesus. Stay in your car. Stay in your car, but you can always honk and wave. We love seeing you guys there. So from the Bethany fam here, love you guys. We're signing out.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.